At the beginning of existence, our Creator made it such that humans and animals had a mutual understanding of one another, allowing them to communicate together, which, in turn, forged a bond of peace and harmony. That is, until humans became overrun with greed. The Dark Lord saw this schism between animal and man as an opportunity to overrule the world with his darkness and evil. The time has come for few gifted humans who bear the spirit animal to defeat the evil forces once and for all.
Hi all, Hal here with, well, Spirit Animal Survival. And, yeah. So for those who don't know, this video is a couple of days late. We actually wanted to have this out on Monday to give you a little bit more of a heads up on it. But, yeah, so this game is actually going to be out by the time you see this video. It is probably already out on Steam Early Access. Now, what this is it is an open world sandbox survival game. Now, we do a lot of these on the channel, just to make sure everybody is on the same page here. The development team, I have been actually working fairly closely with them, talking with them, and just trying to keep up on what's going on with it. They were nice enough to give me an early access copy of the game. And so we were able to see a lot of the development going on. So do keep in mind that, like I said, they did provide me with access to the game, and that this is alpha footage. Now, by the time that the game comes out, they will probably have updated things a little bit more. But I wanted to show you basically what the game is like. So from the developer, let's go through their description of it. It's a non-linear co-op and PvP survival multiplayer game. You have only one main goal, and that is to defeat all 11 instance bosses and collect the 11 spirit animal abilities to defeat the evil lord and rescue your tribe's people. But other than that, just try to stay alive and survive, because everything is out to either kill you or eat you. And let's just say that is very true. So what does this actually mean? This particular game has both PvE as well as PvP. Now, the development team has gone pretty much out of the, I don't want to say completely out of their way. They've built the game around the idea of encouraging a cooperative gameplay mode for the folks who want to play in multiplayer. If you want to PvP, the option is there, but they do have systems in place to help eliminate the, let's say, overly aggressive PvP play styles that you have probably seen in some of the other games in the market. Now, one of the big things about this, one of the reasons why I was actually attracted to the game, is because of that more PvE focus over the PvP gameplay type. But I do appreciate the fact that you can choose to do either one. So what they do, the mechanic that's involved as far as the PvP system is concerned, and actually does bleed into the PvE system a little bit, is in your aggressiveness. If you are one of those types of players that just attacks everything indiscriminately without rhyme or reason, there's an alignment system that basically the more you go out and hunt needlessly, so if you're just going out and just killing animals indiscriminately, and we'll get into what some of these things are here a little bit, but what happens is if you're doing this with players, you're doing this with NPCs, you will eventually start acquiring negative, effectively karma. If you acquire enough of a negative stat in the game, you start losing the ability to use certain things. Like one of the big draws to this is that there's a spirit animal system. As you defeat the bosses, you will be able to take on the aspects of those bosses. So let's say one of the bosses is, a dragon. You would be able to fly, breathe fire, those types of things. But if you have too much of that negative stat, you can't use the abilities. You can't. Eventually, you won't even be able to transform or use the epic mounts and some of the other advanced features in the game. And that is done specifically to help offset the going out and just trying to kill everybody. Now, I do want to let you know that this is not going to be a tutorial. We're not going to go through everything. I'm just going to show you, as you can see playing in the background here, some of just the footage of things that you can craft as well as things that you can do. There is actually a tutorial available, and I'm going to post that up in the little information up in the top corner of the screen, and that will get you over to the folks who have actually started putting some of the tutorials together, and those will walk you through the game mechanics. What we're going to do today is just talk about the game in general. So we've talked about the survival aspects, the co-op versus PvP gameplay. For those who are curious, you will actually be able to host private servers. They have the ability to do private dedicated servers, which are allowed to run 24/7. There are the instance personal servers. What those are just basically a limited access session for you that is a non-persistent session. So if you just want to get in and play a little bit with your friends, that's a way to do so. And then there are the public servers, which will be PvP, and last I heard they were talking about having or looking at having dedicated PvE servers where the PvP functionality will actually be disabled. So what can you do in the game? Well, you can go out and explore. There are 4 fairly large islands currently in the game. Everything is a single shard. There are no loading screens getting to and from the different areas in the game. There is an arena fight mode, which they have a PvP version as well as a player versus creature version. For those who are getting into the battle royale things, you'll notice every once in a while I look around, you'll see a ship in the distance. That actually is a sea-based version of PvP. So if you've played some of the other games where you are piloting a ship with cannons, there is a battle mode like that in the game. Now there are 4 boss fights currently that will be in the game at the start of the early access starting today. You have the 11 spirit animals that we talked about earlier. As you defeat them, you'll be able to take on their aspects, so that you'll have that to play with. There are currently more than 100 animals and creatures in the game, and that includes monsters, dinosaurs, even dragons. I will say the dragons are brutal. Everything in the game really is out to kill you. So currently in the game, there are more than 200 craftable items For building materials, as you see here, this is the branches foundation. You have branches, wood planks. You then progress into stone, and then from stone to concrete, or I think they call them cement in this. But basically, as you go up into your, all of the structures become more durable. So if you are playing in a PvP server, you'll be able to have things that survive just a little bit better. Going into the materials that you can make, or I should say the equipment. There are currently 6 sets of clothing available for characters to craft, starting at basically cotton and working your way all the way up into different types of more durable armor types. They do have models specific for both male and female characters. You have a really customizable character, surprisingly. Now, I just grabbed a default thing and ran with it, but the character creation system is really, really nice, and that is going to be fleshed out as well. As you can see, just beautiful vistas in the game. There's all sorts of tools. You have the stone axe you can see me using. There are metal tools. Your weapons go everything from unarmed all the way up to hunting rifles. I think it's a sniper rifle is one of the top tier weapons. You have all sorts of rideable animals. There are horses and bears and things that you can tame and breed. Now they did put in a system that will limit the breeding functionality, specifically because they don't want the servers getting bogged down with a bunch of tamed and bred creatures. So what will happen is each breeding pair can basically generate one new generation. So when you have a breeding pair, they can have one offspring, and then that's it. If you want to breed more, you have to go find more creatures. Now this actually does a couple of things. One, it does keep the server populations down, but it also means that you can't just find good creatures and breed them indefinitely. You're going to have to go out and replace them. So it keeps players active on the server, which is actually not a bad idea. Like we said, there is the taming. You have to be careful because it is very dangerous. And if you tame something and you don't do it right, then it will kill you. Oh. And then for the folks who are more into the character interactions, they have currently in the game, there's more than 40, almost 50 social animations. They have everything from dancing to greetings, as well as other ways of interacting with each other, so waving, pointing, that kind of thing. But I have to say, overall, I've been having a lot of fun with the game. As what you can see here is one of the epic mounts that's available. You can actually get a red dragon as a mount. So it is possible to get these things if you were one of the early access folks, one of the really early backers. You're on a server with any of these folks, you're gonna see people with flying mounts and different types of mounts very early in the game. So I know of, as far as dragons in the game, because I know people are going to ask, and I've actually already had people asking about this. There is a fire dragon, there's an ice dragon that I've seen. I believe they're talking about having some other epic creatures like that released in the game, on top of the dinos and all of the other things that are available. So, but I think this should hopefully give you a better idea of what's coming out with the game. If you're interested in it, links for it will be down in the description below. I will have links to not only the Steam page, but the Discord. So if you're interested, go check these folks out. They do have a YouTube channel. That video at the beginning of this was from their promotional materials. And yeah, hope to see you all around, and hope you enjoy if you do jump in on it. And on that note, I am going to get out of here. I hope you all have a fantastic day. If you do jump in, I hope you enjoy. As always, folks, take care and be safe out there, everybody. I mean, just look at this. Such a beautiful game.